Wait a minute. You're saying Muslim.
No. I wanted to ask a question.
The one guy that just they caught in France at the airport, he had alcohol and drug in his blood. Is he a Muslim?
Listen.
Do you really believe that?
Let me just say, all of this, I'm not talking about terrorism in Europe. I'm talking about ISIS soldiers going out raping and killing.
Yeah, whom are they killing? They're killing Muslims. Who are they killing?
But you're saying they're not Muslims. So why aren't you out in the street?
Wait. You got to realize. But do we agree with it? Do we support them? That's the question.
How does that look?
Bombing. Were you out in the street marching as a Christian? Were you out? I didn't see you.
Well, I'm not
I didn't see anybody marching when the IRA was slaughtering people.
Yes.
I didn't see any marching. There was never one.
Now you're justifying.
So now,
you're inaction.
No, he's not justifying it. He's telling you to be consistent.
You're inaction.
I think he's telling you to be consistent.
You should be
Muhammad,
out there defending those women and children that are dying.
Exactly.
And
I would defend them.
And
you know
all
why?
non-Muslims are looking at this and seeing.
No God can ever accept anybody who kills innocent men, women, and children.
So why aren't you out doing something about it then?
Why is that our problem if someone else?
It's not your problem. It is your problem because you're Muslim.
Wait. When was the last time you actually criticized the American and the European? When was the last time you criticized the Americans and the Europeans who bombed the civilians in these Muslim countries? When was the last time you did that? I'm telling you to be consistent. That's all. I condemn terrorism, whether it's state terrorism or individual terrorism. I condemn it. Do you do the same?
No, what you're saying.
Do you do the same? But do you condemn the state terrorism of Israel, the state terrorism of the West? Do you condemn it? You don't want to answer that.
You always shut up speakers.
I'm giving you a chance to speak. Go on, speak.
No, what I'm saying is.
Do you condemn? My question is very simple. Do you condemn the state terrorism? Do you do that? Answer the question. Obviously, she doesn't want to.
Tell us what you want us to do.
I want you to get out and march.
Okay,
and show
Please.
I want you to get out.
What's it going to do?
Get out and march and then?
What is it going to achieve?
What would it
achieve?
What
will it achieve?
That's fine. Let her speak. She wants to speak.
If I go out and march, what will it achieve?
Have you finished?
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
As a non-Muslim, are seeing ISIS rape, pillage the whole of the Middle East, and I'm watching all of you Muslims do nothing.
Do nothing.
And I think it is disgusting.
Okay, give me a gun. I will go and fight them.
Hold on. It's fine. Okay, I can see what you're saying.
Fight. I'm talking about a pacifist movement.
Like what?
Like Martin
what do you suggest we do?
My hero, a pacifist
What do you want
movement.
us
Oh, I see.
Get out and do something and
Like
stop
what?
sitting there.
Like what?
Wait. So you're saying if Hitler came and we just being pacifist, that would be okay in Europe, right? Come on, what pacifism are you using? Just because you're a Christian.
About you to get up and march and say.
And then what will that do? What will that do? There were many marches against the ISIS here. Do you know that?
No, do you know there
many
were
marches in England, in London. Yes, they did march. What happened? What happened? Nothing happened. There were nearly 1 million people who marched against the war in Iraq. Did anything happen? Nothing happened. They went on with it anyway, regardless. It was a false pretext of world.
He's showing you a news report, my dear. Calm down.
Oh dear.
How many Muslims marched?
One march.
How many marches do you need?
That was in December. There's been one 2 weeks ago.
Yes. How many do you need?
How many do you need? Could you please let us
They
know?
don't show. The media will not show it.
I told
You
you
know
3
why?
fingers back
Because
of
people
yourself.
like you.
6
People
fingers.
like you.
6 fingers. Yeah, go away.
Because people like
You're
you.
just trying to shut me down. You're trying to shut me down, man.
I will not argue with stupidity.
The work is being done. Not everybody can go out.
20 million Muslims marched.
Yeah.
That's why we're out here in the park doing it.
Well, she didn't know that actually. She didn't know that. That's a problem. She doesn't know what the Muslims do. And then she comes here and gives her opinions, regardless.
Let's see what she.
The independent news just showed you.
Any activism. We need
We just
activism.
showed you activism.
I'm here to listen to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here to listen
Go
to you.
talk to BBC.
I use Twitter, I use YouTube,
That's
I
nice.
use Facebook.
And you haven't seen anything yet. I'm surprised.
Listen to me.
No, I don't. Because, no, I don't.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why?
I know you, don't I?
I probably
From
I don't
time,
know.
yeah.
Why are you frustrated?
I'm frustrated because there's no action and people are dying. Women and children are dying.
Okay.
And it's just ridiculous.
All right. So do you feel like there should be more action to prevent death?
No, I think there should be more action to help innocent people dying.
Okay, can I tell you something though?
Yeah.
I agree with you, yeah? I don't disagree with you. I think there should be more action for Muslims and non-Muslims, yeah?
we don't agree with what they're doing. First of all, as the brother rightly said, we don't agree with what they're doing. We will protect the rights and the honor of Muslims and non-Muslims alike. So I'm with you on that. There's no point of disagreement here, yeah? But I would like to say something as well. And you seem like a fair-minded person. There's a lot of people on you. That's why you're a bit maybe impassioned there. But let me tell you something, right? I was just recently looking into the case of Burma, yeah? You know, Burma is a country which is majority Buddhist country. 80% of people in Burma are Buddhist. There's a small group of people
I know
there
what you're talking about,
called the Rohingya, yeah?
Yeah, I know.
Who are they?
Muslims have been persecuted.
Okay, so tell me something about the Rohingya.
Well, I don't know much about them.
That's the problem. Okay, you don't know much about them. Why? Because it's Buddhist terrorists doing it to Muslims, right? Now, this doesn't fit the media narrative, does it?
Yeah, but you're pulling out a tiny
not tiny.
section.
It's not tiny.
So why? Okay.
Hold on.
So
We're being fair to each other
why
now,
are Muslims killing Muslims? And let's just get down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Because you know, more Muslims are killed by Muslims than anybody else.
That's because the population of Muslims. The population of Muslims in the world is quite hefty. It's quite a big population. That's point one, right? Yeah. So when you compare Muslims with Jews, for example, or Buddhists even, it's not a fair comparison because we're talking about a quarter of the world's population comparative to, let's say, with the Jewish example, less than 1% of the world's population.
Yeah, but I'm just asking you, why are Muslims killing Muslims?
They do so for a variety of different reasons.
We don't agree with
that. If you're Muslim, how can you justify killing?
We don't justify it.
I think you're
That's
right.
the thing. We don't justify it.
Right.
Why do you assume we justify
Can
it?
you understand how
we don't need to make this into a debate. Let's make this into a discussion, right? Because I don't think here there's a point of shouting at each other. I don't think we disagree. I don't think we disagree, right? Your primary premise was that you don't like dead people. You don't like people being killed unjustly, yeah?
No, of course not.
You want people to stop dying unjustly in this world, right?
And that's what Jesus preaches.
Okay, fine. That's very nice, yeah? But I'll tell you the truth. If you're talking about Jesus and talk about Christianity, then we have to be also very fair and look at the broad scale of history, right? And if you're asking about why Muslims killed Muslims or why did Christians kill Christians, you know, you have Catholics and Protestants killing each other. It happens, right?
Yeah, but Catholics are not Christians.
Okay, fine.
According to you.
Okay, that's fine, all right.
It's true. It's like saying Shia and Sunni.
No, it's not like
saying.
It's not the same.
Okay, fine. If you believe that, that's fine. That's your position. But I don't think it's the majority position, right? Here, what I'm going to say to you is this. We have to be consistent. Just because we're look at the raw data is what I'm saying, yeah? If we look at the raw data, we'll come to the conclusion. Like, let me give you an example. Just suicide bombing as one example, yeah? When I say suicide bombing, what does this woman here, what does she envisage? Someone like me, right? Let's be honest. Or this man here or whatever, like something inside of my, and blow myself up, right? Because suicide bombing is almost synonymous with Islamic suicide bombing, isn't it? Would you agree with that?
It has become like that.
If we look at the
It originated in Japan from the kamikaze.
Nice one. If you look at the raw data, for example, there's a book written by Robert Pape, yeah? It's called Dying to Win. He analyzes from 1980 to 2005 all of the cases of suicide bombing. He said there's 315 cases of suicide bombing on the international level. And he said that the number one culprits of this were the Tamil Tigers, with 75 cases of 315. Then there's a range of other people, then the Islamic suicide bombing comes into play. Yeah, Tamil Tigers are not Muslim, just for the
all the kamikazes.
Now the point is, when was the last time you put on BBC and you saw Tamil Tigers, or whatever it is, Channel 4, you saw Tamil Tigers, whatever it is.
That's why you don't see our matches then.
Exactly.
All right, no, hold on. Use the internet, you're like me here. We have something in common. Go online. When was the last time you saw Tamil Tiger blows himself up? When was the last time you saw a headline like that? The reason why you're not aware of these things that are happening in the world is because you have not been made aware. And that's why in communication theory in the 1930s, when I talk about TV, one scholar of communication theory said that TV doesn't tell you what to think, but it does tell you what to think about. And that's what you have to remember. I'm not talking about TV. The media as a complex, generally, that's what it's done. If you look at this is what my point is here today. My thesis is as follows. If you look at the raw data of things like suicide bombing, of things like terrorism, you'll find that comparative to their population, Muslims do not score overwhelmingly, disparately, as a ratio, higher than any other faith group. In fact, Noam Chomsky has written many books about this. His point is that if we consider state terrorism, then the United States of America will be the global world leader. Higher than ISIS, by the way, higher than ISIS. The only one that can beat IS in barbarism and cruelty and all these things is the US itself.
But can I just say something?
Go ahead.
They're not going out killing Christians, though, are they?
Who?
America.
Well, they are Christians, a lot of them themselves.
No, but what I'm saying, that they're not going out and killing fellow Christians.
Oh, Vietnamese people.
But Muslims are
Actually,
going out
because they're
killing
not Christian.
fellow
Look,
Muslims.
I'll tell you something, right?
But I think you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, no, I do want to hear. I agree
really
with you.
do think
Look,
that you don't want to
let me
hear
tell you
that
something. I
point.
agree with you. Yeah? Oh, here we go. Yes, yes. Muslims are doing the wrong thing by killing
How
other
can we
Muslims.
stop it?
How do we stop it?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do we stop it?
Here's the honest truth. Me and you
Yeah.
are people here standing in Speaker's Corner on a nice sunny day, which is not usually the case in London, yeah? Right? Me and you can do limited things. I know you're frustrated. You see on, let's say, the internet.
No, but
yeah?
I just fed up of that.
I know you
because
are.
It's not,
I know
it's
you
just
are.
ridiculous.
But I want you to be as fed up of that as you are of the Rohingya being demolished in Burma.
But we're not talking about the Rohingya.
Why not?
We're talking,
That's the problem.
I'm talking about the fact
Go on.
that we have the mass slaughter
Yeah.
of Muslims
Yes.
by Muslims.
Okay, I agree with that point.
And something's got to be done because people
Yeah.
are too complacent.
So what do you think we should do?
I don't know. Sure, I'm not a Muslim.
Okay, I'll tell you what we
I'm
can do.
asking you what
okay,
we can
what we can do. We can only educate. That's our limitation.
How can you do that?
We're doing it here. You're coming
know,
to the
but
wrong
this is a
people here.
small-
Do you know who you should have gone to, right? You should have gone to the people that were on the cafeterias there, smoking shisha and drinking coffee, not doing anything about it. You're coming to the people who are actually doing the only thing they can do, which is trying to educate people about terrorism, about Islam.
But
Any military might go to the government.
it's a community.
I agree with you.
It's
I don't disagree with
taking
you.
the message and taking it into the community, the Muslim
But can I
community.
tell you,
Non-Muslims doing that.
can I tell you something else, Lizzie?
We
yeah?
got
Listen, let me tell you another point, right? You might not want to hear this, I don't know. But there's another, okay, the Muslims are to blame. I'll be the first one to say that. The Muslims are to blame for many of the problems, point one. In fact, most of our problems are because of the Muslims themselves. I'll say most of them, yes.
Let me shake your
No, I'm not going to shake hands. for Islamic reasons, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
No disrespect.
No, don't worry.
That's right. Number one, most of the problems are from Muslims themselves. That's why in the Quran it says Allah does not change a condition of a people until they change the conditions of themselves. So we believe that the reason, I personally will tell you here, the reason why you have so much, why are you going?
This man's taken.
Oh, okay. The reason why, okay, most of these things are happening in the Muslim world is because the Muslims themselves have not internalized Islam. That's the problem.
What do you mean internalized?
Internalized it, they're not embodying it, they don't understand it. A lot of them, Muslims, are ignorant. And a lot of them are desperate. So they have problems. And we're not justifying
Can I
them.
just say one thing?
They're the problem.
I've been coming for years, here for years, and you were the most honest and
thank you very much.
and open Muslim I spoke to.
Oh, thank you very
And it's
much.
very refreshing.
No, I'm happy you say that because
Yeah.
it shows
Yeah,
that
but
we're
continue
trying to-
that, please.
Okay, let me tell you another point, right? I'll say the truth. Yes, the Muslims are number one. If you had a blame list, I put number one, Muslims are to blame. Why? Because of their nationalism, of their hating each other, racism, of their cultural baggage that they have, the problems that they have, not understanding their religion. There need to be a reform. Listen, but I'm not saying within the religion, I'm saying within the Muslims, right? Muslims, Muslims need to go back to Islam, okay, and go back to it. That's number one. Point two here, I believe that the West has something to do with it. Now, I'm not going to blame the West all the time, but I'll say, look, the truth is, if you look at the colonial, like, 1600s, 17th century, up until the 20th century, 1900, 20th century, this was a period of colonialism. Now, you might not realize this, but...
Yeah, but we had the Ottoman, it was exactly the
exactly,
same.
yeah.
So we're both guilty of these things.
First of all, let's talk about the majority of Muslims, and this might be something that might shock you, right? Especially in the late 1900s and in the 20th century, the majority of Muslims were not in the Ottoman Empire, they were in the British Empire. Did you know that? They were part of India and Pakistan, all these countries that the British Empire had colonized. So the majority of Muslims were not under Ottoman rule. In the 1900s, the majority of Muslims were under British rule. Point one. Point two, you have to understand, if you look at a world map today, you ask why are Muslims killing each other?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the reason. Okay? Look at Syria, for example.
Yeah.
It's one of the most religiously diverse countries from the Muslim world.
It's practically
Look,
bordering on
do you know what's
secularism.
happening in Syria today? Happened in Lebanon already. In the 1980s, there was a 10-year war
yeah, I know, yeah.
in Lebanon. Why? Because when the colonial master drew the lines, when they said, okay, this is going to be Syria, this is going to be Lebanon, what they did is they intentionally put opposing factions in the same country, such that they would have to dispute over sovereignty, who's going to be in charge. And that has continued to happen both in Lebanon and Syria. That's why you'll find most conflict in that region. And Iraq is something else. It was the lines were kind of already drawn, but something similar happened.
Right,
in
so let's get back to what you can do.
Yep.
Because this is history. Something's got to be done now. Because really, as Europeans, we feel like we're under attack. And the thing is, it's brutal.
Okay.
It's brutal. And yeah, you can say that we're attacking you in Syria. But the thing is, Europe, well, luckily we're not going to be in Europe anymore. After Wednesday, woohoo, bring it on. After this, you know, as far as we're concerned, we're open. We let people have mosques. We let everybody have open religion.
Yeah.
Everybody can do their religion the way they want to. And now it's like slam.
Yeah.
We're going to we're letting all of these refugees. No problem. We're Christians. This is what we do.
Not
and
all
now
of you guys
all of a sudden, now we're faced with
terrorism.
A terrorism.
Okay, let me tell you something.
What are we supposed to do?
Let me tell you what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
If you ask the question, how comes of all of the European countries, if you look at the European countries, the ones that are in the EU, do you want me to give you, because I've done actually research on this, so I'm going to give you the findings right here and right now, yeah? If you look at the European countries, things like the United Kingdom, obviously France, these countries with a large Muslim population, you'll find that terrorism usually happens in those countries, most disparately or comparatively to other European nations. Why?
Can I just say something?
Go on.
To stop you, Richard.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible that this, I don't know, it's from the Quran or Hadith, about if you die as a martyr, you're going to get all these virgins?
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
No, hold on, let me tell you. You're right. What they do is this faction that has always been part of the Islamic kind of, they're called the Kharijites, the Khawarij in Arabic. They have always been part of kind of the community extremists, right? And they've always basically, let me put it this way, yeah? You know, in the Quran, I'm going to simplify it to the lowest common.
Know where this comes
I'm telling you where it's coming from. The Quran, if you open it up, yeah, you'll find there's two kinds of verses. There are some verses that talk about peace, and there's some verses that talk about fighting. Yeah. Okay. How do mainstream Muslims interpret these? Mainstream Muslims. When I mean mainstream Muslims, I'm talking about all of the institutions in the world. Yeah. So we talk about, even if we talk about universities, Medina University, even Al-Azhar, Deoband University, all of them. Yeah. The big universities in the world which have any kind of influence, academic influence, have done one thing and they've united on condemning, you know, these actions, and they've interpreted the Quran in a so-called peaceful way. So what they'll do, these verses, there's two kinds of verses. There's verses like in the Quran where it says, ومن أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل إنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. Whoever kills one person, in chapter 5 verse 8, whoever kills one person, it's like whole humanity. Okay, for less than be for murder, corruption, it's like all of humanity. And there's other verses, وقاتلوهم حيث ثقفتموهم.
And that's schizophrenic though, isn't it?
No, I'll tell you what. This is everything is. Give me time, yeah. There's other verses that says, fight them where you see them, yeah.
Kill them.
Okay, kill them. Yes, you're actually right. Or kill them where you see them. That's what it says. Yeah. Okay. And other verses. وَإِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَضَرْبَ الرِّقَابِ. If you see the disbelievers, then strike them at their necks. Yeah. Okay. Right. You know, their necks. فَضَرْبَ الرِّقَابِ means necks. Anyways, how do you reconcile? Yeah. But anyways, there's two kinds of verses. How do we as mainstream Muslims?
I just asked you about.
I'm telling you.
I just want to find out where that verse.
I'm telling you.
Because this is the inspiration for a lot of people.
I'm giving you the summarized, abridged, easy version. These two verses, mainstream Muslims, Orthodox Muslims, will say that those verses that are talking about fighting regard combatants that are fighting you. For example, in the context of war. And we leave it as that. Those extremists, they say no, since, and this is exactly what they do, say since, for example, the British people has pledged allegiance to its sovereign, they too are guilty of the same crimes as the government.
I just want to know where this verse comes from.
I'm telling you how it works out in the
Quran. I want to know how it works out. I want to know where it is in the Quran.
The verses are everywhere.
Is it in the Quran or the Hadith?
Which one?
About the 74 virgins.
No, it's not the Quran.
Is it in the Hadith then?
But there's one Hadith that's weak.
Well, I've read it. So
it's a weak Hadith.
It says
72 versions.
If you die as a martyr, you go to heaven, you get 74, 76.
72. But we believe.
What is wrong with that, by the way? Anyway, let's say it was there.
I'll tell you exactly what's wrong.
No, forget it. This Hadith, we don't need to defend it. Forget it. We're moving away from it.
No.
Or blowing yourself up.
What it's basically saying is if you go and kill yourself.
No, it's not saying that. martyrdom doesn't necessitate fighting or
Okay,
dying.
let me tell you.
No, what
Someone
it
who dies
says-
in a fire, or a mother who dies in childbirth is a martyr. Someone who dies it doesn't. If someone goes on a path and does charity and does good deeds and dies in that act, that is what martyrdom is. Doesn't necessitate fighting or killing.
By the way, like, you know, in the Quran, there is mention of Hur'ain, yeah? Which are basically
These would be, these-
the Huris, or what do you
Yeah,
call them?
exactly.
Okay, so men,
So where about in the Quran is that?
everywhere. In chapter 55, chapter 56 of the Quran, you know, in lots
But
of
you can
lots
see
of
where
places.
how this is
that linked to martyrdom?
misinterpreted.
It's not linked to martyrdom.
It's saying
Just it's a general thing. It's saying that in heaven, right? We believe in heaven, right? Muslims believe in heaven and hell. Heaven for us is a place where you fulfill all of your. Basically, put
Can
it
I
this
just
way.
answer your? What's wrong with that about having the same?
It's just in the middle of something. Anyways,
Heaven is somewhere that is not a harem. It's not somewhere where you go to have sex.
What's a harem?
A harem,
Is that-
a harem is somewhere where you have sex with virgins and they become a virgin every night.
who said it's not that?
Who said it is that?
Well, anyways, basically, put it this way.
This is what. This is a
okay,
really bad interpretation of heaven.
No,
I'm just
hold
going
on,
to say, yeah, Allah says, لَهُمْ مَا يَشَاءُونَ فِيهَا.
I don't understand Arabic.
They will have whatever they want in there. The whole point.
So do you think that people would want to go to heaven and
No,
have
look,
sex all the
let me
time?
say something, Lizzie.
Like, into-
Can I tell you something, Lizzie?
why is it so despicable
Because
to have
that is
sex?
something the devil would do.
What? So then don't
The
have sex.
devil-
Don't have
no,
sex.
the
once you're here.
devil-
Don't have
you
relationships.
can't
while
see
you-
that that
if you're
is from the devil.
Wait, if you're saying that having relationships
Only the devil
is
would
impure,
say that if
you're
you
saying
go
that's
to heaven,
impure,
it's a harem. Let me just tell you that.
no one said that. No one said that according to Islam.
Okay, basically, listen.
That's
to me,
your
yeah?
words.
But
Yeah,
you
no,
just said it
no.
says
We're saying
in
that generally, if you go to heaven, Muslims believe in the following. Yeah, put it this way. You know, when I was doing economics one time, when I was doing A-level economics, yeah, they said that there's something called a basic economic problem. A basic economic problem. What is it? Is that human wants are infinite, and resources are, or human wants are infinite, and resources are finite. Yeah. Okay. Heaven, in a nutshell, is we believe human wants are infinite, and resources are infinite. In other words, whatever you want, you will get in heaven, right? Now, we can't deny part of human nature, and just look at the pornography statistics, prostitution statistics, people, they get the fact that people actually get into relationships.
No, let me just ask you one thing.
People like
Where do you
having
think these things
intercourse.
come from?
What?
Like pornography, drug abuse.
I'm not saying that's a good thing,
alcoholism.
by the way.
No, it comes
It's part of
from
human
a
nature.
dark source.
Okay, well, that's just
So
subjective.
all
though.
of a sudden, this dark source has said, okay, if you go blow people up, you're going to get all of
Do you believe-
sex. Anybody
No,
that
it's not
thinks that
saying
they're going to
sex,
get
though.
sex in
It
heaven
doesn't say
is not
that
sex.
says
It doesn't say
seek
sex.
refuge from
By the way,
Satan when you-
in the verses that I've just quoted,
I know
yeah,
you don't. I keep seeing you tatting your face and turning
Yeah,
away
because
from it. You don't have to listen.
No, because
yeah.
no, it's not about listening. You keep jumping and chopping and
No, but I-
and going
But
here
Lizzie,
and there.
I was saying to you, yeah,
Point,
Lizzie, yeah, what I was going to say, yeah,
What do you want
is
me
that
to stick
first
to?
of all, let's be fair to the Quran. The Quran doesn't say you're going to have sex with them and this and that. It doesn't say that.
So where
No,
does that come
no.
from?
What I'm saying is that the Quran just says that in heaven, okay, you're going to have, for a man, they're going to have a woman with a certain, you know what I'm saying, features, yes, features.
I think if
And by the way, the features are like she has nice eyes and this and that. So what?
this is.
What's the problem?
No, that's
What's the problem?
that is the problem.
Why?
That is the problem.
Why?
Because
Why is that an issue?
What do you mean, don't I like it? No, I don't like it.
No, I didn't say you don't like it. I
But
didn't
what
ask you that.
No, but what I'm saying
I said, what's the
is
problem
if
with
you
that?
really want to bring like how do you say,
Is that wrong?
mortal desires. When you get to heaven, you give up mortal desires.
It's gonna be floating in the sky. And
No, but
I
that's
don't
just
know what
an
we're going to do, but
interpretation.
we're not going to be
But
having
I'm-
sex.
Why not?
With loads and loads of girls.
I don't want to
because
go to your heaven.
do you know what? I don't want to die. If this is really what you think about heaven, we've got nothing to say. Because
That's right.
heaven is pure.
What you have in this world.
Heaven is pure.
Do you go on holidays? Do you go on holidays?
If you want to go if you want to go have sex with 74 during
No one's saying 70. See, you keep
That
coming
is-
back
Okay,
with
forget about the
74.
72.
No
because
one,
I've
no one
spoken
said,
Forget
to
that.
many Muslims about
what
this.
does that got to do with us here? You keep projecting other
No, but you're
experiences onto us.
projecting
Okay, let's just say to her, Lizzie,
into an immortal
If you don't mind me
world.
telling you, yeah, what we're saying is just generally, yeah, okay, the
I don't
Christian.
think we're going to want to have sex in heaven.
Okay, well, anyways, that's just a subjective. Look,
We're
heaven doesn't
displaced.
exist unless you have something to describe it, right? For us, it's the Quran. For you guys, it's the Bible, right? Unless you're able to prove that the Bible is truly from God, and I'm able to prove that the Quran is truly from God, there's no use talking about a metaphysical entity which has which basically doesn't exist otherwise. Do you get it? Why are we talking about something which is an imaginary world for an atheist? Do you get it? There's no need to talk about this. What we were talking about before was terrorism, which is a global issue, right? and we were talking about, we're using statistics, how
So
there's been double
if it's
standards.
a global issue,
Go on.
what would you say the highest percentage of terrorism is at the moment?
I think, according to Noam Chomsky, I've done research on this. If you include state terrorism as part of the unit of analysis, yeah, then I would say, if you look at the drone strikes, if you look generally if you look from wars from 1945 onwards, from the end of World War II, through the Cold War and into
I think drones are disgusting.
yeah, fair enough. So I would say that there's no doubt in anyone's mind, if you count the casualties and deaths that have been committed in North Korea, in Vietnam, in Afghanistan, and Iraq, that America is the leading terrorist state. That's my opinion, and that's Noam Chomsky's opinion, and that's basically
These numbers is just the reality.
Yeah.
It's not an opinion. It's
yeah,
facts.
yes, these are the facts. These are the facts. So I'm saying that, look, no matter what ISIS can do, whatever evil they're doing, yeah, whatever monstrosities they're committing, if they continue doing what they're doing for 50 years, they will still not be able to even come close to the numbers that the US have already set the bar so high. The thing is, you look at ISIS now and how they've established their state. That's exactly how the United States established its states about 200 years ago. All right, so they annihilated a population. So I'll say to you one thing. Imagine like 200 years from now, your great-grandchildren or great-great-grandchildren come about and they say, look, I'm from ISIS. And you say, that's a disgusting state. Look how it was founded, yeah? But you say now the world has recognized it as a state. We've gotten our borders now. The United States, the parable of that is exactly the same parable of the United States. They have literally established a state through genocide, through going against their treaties with the natives, killing the people there, and then when they established it, now they believe in something called manifest destiny, which, by the way, in political terminology, if you look at the politics of the United States of America, you'll realize that no president, whether Democrat or Republican, can be elected unless they believe in manifest destiny. What is it? Manifest destiny is the idea of westward expansion, of the United States expanding westward until they basically take over the world. An imperialistic concept that no politician in the United States can get elected unless they believe it.
So do you think there's ever...
This is ISIS.
Do you think there's
But the only
ever-
difference is they eat chips and Big Macs and they have Hollywood, and ISIS, they do it in a much more direct and graphic and gruesome and primitive way. ISIS put people on crucifixion and this and that. They kill people, I don't know, stone them. These guys put them on electric chairs and torture them in a big complex in Cuba that no one knows what's going on behind
Do you think
it.
there's ever going to be a point in our world when we can just live in harmony?
No.
No, really.
Yeah, basically, let me tell you the reason, yeah? It depends on your conception of human nature, innit?
Yeah.
Philosophers in the Enlightenment period have grappled with this. If you look at Thomas Hobbes and all of them, the majority of Enlightenment philosophers, they start their philosophy with what is human nature. The majority of them, they say human nature is prone to evil. Okay, I wouldn't say necessarily that that's completely true, but I say there's an element of truth in that. In the Quran it says, فعلمها فجورها وتقواها, that God gave human being a propensity to good and a propensity to evil. And generally, in الإنسان لا يطغى, in chapter 96 of the Quran, it says that human being has a propensity to transgress. So because human being has all of these vices that inhibit him from living a self-disciplined life, where they can just be content with what they have, power and ego and all these things will drive human being invariably to conquest and to overtaking people and to demeaning and subjugating and subordinating them. And that's the human problem. Now what is problematic is if the West takes this human problem and changes the label and says this is an Islamic problem, that's disingenuous. That's why we can't tolerate it, because that will be saying, okay, the Muslims are unique in you're unique in your murder, you're unique in your expansion, you're unique in this, that and the other. I'll say no, we're absolutely not unique in that. We're a big part of the world population, and we're literally sometimes can mimic the same behaviors as other people of other faiths.
But I think what's happening with ISIS is backfiring, because so many Muslims are convert to Christianity or atheism or one of the things.
Yeah.
And I think it's just...
I think we agree here, that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's because, Colonial, you don't get moments of silent agreement.
I know.
And this is one of them, guys, ladies and gentlemen. I think here we both understood that actually, we both agree, you would say, yeah? That really, when you look at the statistics, it's no use falling into the ploy of the right-wing extremists in this country and blaming all of the world's issues really on the scapegoat of Islam. Because if we do that, that's not going to deal with the complexities and the nuances of the reality of the world. What we're saying is, let's take a step back and look at the numbers. You see, and terrorism, let me tell you one thing, right? I was personally just looking at some figures from The Guardian, yeah, and they quoted the ONS, the Office of National Statistics. They were saying that terrorism, in general, like, you know, they have the mortality thing and mortality like numbers and that, yeah. How many people died from terrorism? According to the parliamentary report in the United Kingdom, about 50, if you add, maybe about 60 people died from terrorism from 2001 to this day. That's about 60 people, yeah. Now, I'm not saying this number is negligible or we should forget about it. It's not only just an attack on people, but it's an attack on the nation. So we shouldn't say like, okay, we should just put it to the side. But what we are saying is this. I went to a speed awareness course because I was speeding, right? I'll be honest with you guys, yeah? And I was speeding on the highway.
All right.
You're right.
I thought you meant speeding as in...
I was speeding. So the guy, the instructor, he came out and he said, you know, the United Kingdom, of all the countries, is one of the best in terms of road safety. And he gave us the number. He said there's 1,760 people in 2016, 1,760 people that die on the roads. 28% of them are motorcyclists. Okay, anyways, this is just a bit too much statistic. The point is, you're more likely by maybe about 1,000 to 2,000%. Now this is a massive number. You're more likely by 1,000 to 2,000% to get run over by a car than you are to be struck by a terrorist attack.
I just want to ask you one more thing, and then we'll, because I think we've agreed on a lot of
Yeah.
Why does it say in Islam if you leave that you can die?
Well, the thing is, you have to understand that Islam, when we're talking about Islam now as practiced in the West in these countries, like we're in the West, yeah? If a person or friend of mine disbelieves, yeah, and this has happened actually, a lot of people, they come into Islam, they leave Islam, they come into Islam, this kind of thing, oscillation. We as Muslims, it should be known, we have no right to compel that person to be what to be a Muslim. We have no right to do that. So in the context of the United Kingdom and the West and stuff, there's no way anyone could say that you would even force the person, let alone kill them for doing something against their will. That's just a fabricated thing that some people, because of Salman Rushdie, in the case of Salman Rushdie and the Iranians, did not fatwa against him. I think they take that too literally. We have nothing to do with the Iranian regime. So we would say that if anyone in the West, anyone in Britain, anyone in the United States, anyone anywhere here, then if they decide not to be Muslim, then not only do you have to not hurt them or not compel them, but you also have to be kind to them. And that's our position.
Because I've been doing a lot of studying about ex-Muslims converting either to atheism or Christianity, and they're just getting like so many people trying to attack them.
But I agree with you. But you know what? Let me tell you something.
And
right?
you know, can I just say?
Yeah, of course.
Like there might be a lot of Muslims that are having doubts.
Yeah.
Because I've read the Quran, and to me it just the way Prophet Muhammad has these revelations when he, like with Aisha, with Zaid, and his adopted son's wife, all of a sudden he has a revelation that he changes this, and it just, to me, it looks a little bit suspicious, and that's why I didn't become a Muslim. Right. But I feel that for somebody born in a Muslim family, that the fear of actually thinking, I don't want any more of this, and I want to leave. Just because they grow up in Muslim is a very community-based religion, and I think it's just I feel for those people.
Okay, look, let me tell you something, right? Going back to Noam Chomsky, yeah?
Who's Norman Chomsky?
Noam. He's a very famous academic that's a liberal kind of guy.
I thought you were having a thing about Trump.
No. He's a well-known linguist, professional linguistics, yeah? He quoted one of his books. I can't remember which book for now, but he said that, and by the way, before I quote him, I'll be clear that I personally, and Muslims generally, don't see liberalism or democracy or let's say anything as an ultimate truth of any kind. There are if you put it into a Venn diagram, there are similarities on a practical level between Islam and these ideologies, but we don't see that this is an objective truth in any capacity, right? We believe only Islam is an objective, full truth. Okay? Having said that, we're saying here, since we're playing by the rules of liberalism and we're in a liberal type country, yeah, and most people who would identify themselves as liberal, maybe not with a big L, obviously I'm talking about with a small L. Now what I'm saying here is, he said, going to his quote, that if you don't believe in freedom of speech for the people you despise the most, then you don't believe in freedom of speech at all.
Yeah.
Okay, now what I'm saying, if this is the premise that we're working upon, then not only do we have to stand here in Speaker's Corner and talk about the fact, as liberals, right? And once again, I'm not a liberal, but as yourself and others, speak about the fact that what do you call them? That ex-Muslims have a hard time.
Yeah.
We also have to talk about the fact that people that come into Islam have a hard time. That's not reported because it does not fit the media narrative. And once again, we have to talk about Muslim minorities being attacked and prosecuted. We have to talk about legislation that's been put through on an EU level
How do you think
that
Britain
discriminates against certain segments.
What is Britain like?
Huh? Finish off. Go ahead. Well, last question.
Last question. What is,
I meant what you were saying, but yeah, carry on.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. All right, go on.
what do you think Britain is like in Israel?
I think it's one of the best countries in Europe. Yeah, probably if not the best. I don't know. I haven't been to every country.
On a comparative level.
Yeah, on a comparative level.
great
Like,
place.
it's probably the best in Europe, not considering obviously Turkey, Bosnia, and these countries which are actually Muslim countries.
but not-
I'm talking about Western Europe. From what I know, it's probably the best. Yeah, and what I'm saying is that because Britain is the most morally consistent on a liberal level country in the Western European hemisphere, it should continue being that way by disregarding and putting to the side this, I would say, this right-wing poison that's coming and
You've got
creeping
right
in.
wing in Islam, we've got right wing in if you can have
Right wings are
right wing in
different.
Islam,
Yeah.
you can have right wing in Christianity.
Yeah.
I'm saying
Do you
that.
have that right wing in Islam?
And we don't
Yeah,
have
well,
right wing
ISIS
and
is
left wing.
right-wing.
She means that more
ISIS is-
conservative
Yeah.
Muslims and
Well,
liberal
well,
Muslims. Or,
You
yeah?
know, right wing here are quite conservative as well. You can have extremes in every faith. But you know what? I just want you to go, as this conversation we had today, I want you to take it back to brothers and sisters because you've got light inside you
Thank you.
and a lot of knowledge.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Nice to talk to you.
Hopefully we can both enlighten our communities.
Definitely.
Take care, yeah?
See you later.
Bye.